Hello. Today we're working with creating and solving inequalities, and we're going to start with solving equalities first. So an inequality is a statement that compares two expressions that are not strictly equal by using one of the following signs. So we have less than or equal to, we have greater than or equal to, and then we also have the is not equal to, which happens when there's no solution. The most important rule to remember is that an inequality sign must be reversed when multiplying or dividing both sides of an inequality by a negative number, which means the number that we're moving. When I take a look at these, a lot of times you can just treat them as if they were equations, and then at the end, when you're multiplying or dividing, just be very cognizant of if it's a positive or a negative number. So when I'm looking at this first one, I see that it is like a two-step movement because there's a 2 and a negative 3 that I need to take care of before the x is by itself. So following the reverse rules of order of operations, I need to add or subtract first, and I see that I have minus 3. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides to get rid of that 3. This is what also called moving the 3 across. So I have 2x by itself. I'm going to have my same symbol. And negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. 2x is multiplication, so the reverse of that is to divide by 2. So x and negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. This symbol is going to stay the same because the number that I moved was positive. It was not a negative number, so it stays the same. Something to be cautious of is several times I will see students change these to equal signs, and that is not an equation, it is an inequality statement. So they need to stay as an inequality. When I look at this other one, I also see that it's a two-step process. So I'm going to start undoing my addition and subtraction. I see subtraction here. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And that makes that go away. And I have negative 5x on the left. Go ahead and bring down my symbol. I have negative 17 plus 7. Different signs find the difference. I'm going to have a negative 10. This is multiplication, so the opposite would be to divide by negative 5. Divide by negative 5. That becomes 1, so x is by itself. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is a positive 2. I moved a negative number, and that is where this symbol goes from greater than to less than. There's some practice ones for you to work on. I'm going to work with this one with you. Sometimes when we see them like this and we want to free up what's inside the parentheses, there's two things we could do. One, we could go ahead and distribute, and the other is to go ahead and get rid of this 4/3 first because it's kind of trapping this. I can't do anything with the 9 or the 6 until I move this. So remember, when we are working with fractions and we're wanting to divide, it's really multiplying by its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 4/3 is 3 over 4. And I would be multiplying both sides of the inequality statement at the same time. So the 3's cancel out and the 4's cancel out, and all I have left is everything that's inside the parentheses. So I'm going to drop the parentheses, and I'm going to rewrite 6x plus n. And I'm going to go ahead and bring down my less than symbol. On this side, I have 4 times 3/4. I'm going to make my 4 a whole, from a whole number to an improper fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. And then I'm going to simplify where I can. 1 times 3 is 3. So it's going to be 6x plus 9 is less than 3. Now I'm ready to start moving the 9. I can subtract both sides by 9. I'm going to get 6x is less than 3 minus 9 is negative 6. Now I'm ready to get the x by itself. I'm going to divide by 6. X and negative 1. 6 divided by 6 is negative 1. I moved a positive, so the symbol stays the same. So this is one way of doing fractions with the instead of distributing them, but just to go ahead and get rid of the fraction. Sometimes you have questions like this one where we have to do distributive property on each side before we can start moving numbers around. So the first thing I see is I have a distributive property here of negative 4 times x, negative 4x, and negative 4 times 4, which is negative 16. Go ahead and bring down my 3x and my less than symbol. And then I have negative 4 times x is negative 4x, and negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And where I can, I would like to combine any like terms. So I'm going to look on the left side first, and I see that I have 3x and negative 4x. If I add those two together, I get negative x. Go ahead and bring down my minus 16 and my less than symbol. And on this side, I have 11 minus x. So I'm going to have negative 4x minus 1. Because 11 and negative 12 makes negative 1. 3x and negative 4x make negative x. Those are the changes we made. Now I have to decide which side I want my variable on. If I add an x to each side, this is still negative. If I add a 4x to each side, this would become a positive. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add 4x to each side. I'm going to bring down my negative 1 because that subtracting 1 is 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And then bring down my negative 16. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3x. Now I need to take and move my 16. It's being subtracted, so I'm going to add it to both sides. I get 3x is less than 15. Divide by both sides by 3. And that's going to be 5. Is this going to be less than or greater than? It does remain less than because 3 was positive. Okay. And that's the end of part 1. I'll have another video for part 2.